Hey, so, Kotaku wrote an article about me. That's pretty cool. The best part is that it says right here, the man making the game is pretty charismatic. Check this shit out. That's a quote for the front of the box. I'm really looking forward to this month. Now that I've completed a lot of the back-end work, I can actually now start putting things in engine and actually start making a game that everyone can see. So I'm going to be completing a few more animations, putting them in game and actually rigging up a control system for the player so you can fight enemies. I am also going to be putting some of the levels into game, so I'll be doing a few more sprites for the levels themselves, but then I'll actually start building them in engine. This is going to be pretty exciting because we're going to actually see visible progress this month, and I love this part of making a game when you first start putting things in engine, because it's like it's real. You actually get to see what you're doing, and you sort of reaffirm to yourself that yes, I am making a game, and yes, it's going to be awesome. Well, after many weeks, seems like forever now, I've finally finished off the majority of the player's animations. So now I'm just going to put him in engine, which shouldn't take all that long compared, and then we'll be able to walk around, move, swing your sword, block, do all that sort of fun stuff. And then it's a matter of putting some enemies in that you can fight. Unfortunately, that means I have to do animations for the enemies too. So in order to have a playable state by the end of the month, I need to make an enemy that you can fight. So to that end, I'm going to head into my little room here where I've got a bunch of armor and other things, and work out exactly what I want the enemy to look like. Now, I know some enemy colors. I do have some things in mind in terms of that. So the enemy is largely red, blue, and black, whereas the good guys are green and brown predominantly, a bit of white in there as well. But I just want to have a look and see what sort of armor I want for this enemy type. So this enemy is like a basic footman, like a guard, you can think of him as. So I need to work out exactly what I want him to have. So I don't want him to have lots of armor, because he's quite a basic enemy, but I'm thinking some sort of helmet. So, let's have a look. So you can see I've got so much, like, arms and armor here, and that's because I have a very stupid hobby where every Friday night I dress up in all this armor and go around and hit other people that are dressed up in armor as well. Nerd! Really nerdy. But it comes in handy if you want to make a medieval game, so let's see what I've got. So you can see I've got things from all different time periods here. Now, this isn't a historically accurate game. I want this game to have elements of historically accurate combat in it, but I'm not aiming for something that's like 100% true to life, so a lot of these different centuries will be colliding in my game. For the guardsman himself, I'm kind of thinking this bad boy here. Probably go with that. Now, the next choice to make is what sort of weapon. Probably an axe, I reckon, because that just sort of looks cool. So I have to think if I do want him to have any other armor. So I can't decide here, because there's also things that are called brigandines, which is one of these. So brigandines have these little studded plates on them that are sewn into the garment themselves. You see these a lot of these sorts of things, or things that look like these in film and TV, because they kind of look cool. They got studs on them. I'm not sure if I actually want to give this sort of basic enemy type any sort of armor. At this point, I might just go for like some sweet clothing. Pretty much want everyone else in this game to have a cloak or a cape as well, because it just looks cool. Looks super fantasy too. In terms of shield, I've got a couple of different sizes and shapes. I might give him like a cliched heater shield, so something like this one here. I think will be pretty cool. So that heater shield, axe, that big wide brimmed sort of hat type helmet, should be pretty cool. So I'm gonna pop all that on, record some more footage for it, and then start rotoscoping. Yay, more animations. I haven't had enough of those. To be really honest, I'm getting pretty sick of doing animations at this point. I just want to get on to actually making some gameplay happen. But due to the nature of the combat in this game, it's really animation and timed focus, so going in with basic placeholder animations at this point doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because a lot of it is tied to the timing of attacks and the distance between people, and I don't know, I've basically been doing animations for about 2 weeks non-stop at this point, so I'm just getting sick of tracing video. But it looks really good. I'm really happy with how it looks so far. I just wish it was over. Alrighty, so I'm going to show you some really early gameplay footage here. This is pre-alpha, like really pre-alpha, but you actually get to see something. So let me just boot up the game here, and let's have a little look. Here we go. Awesome. Now, you can see in the bottom left here, there we go, there's sort of an incomplete beginning of a HUD there, so you will have your character portrait, and underneath there will be a health indicator, a stamina bar, and armor indicator underneath that as well. So this might change in size, move around, but I've got it sort of, I don't know, I've got the HUD like 1/10 finished at the moment. Whenever you come into contact with enemies, there will also be an enemy portrait over the other side, and he'll have the same thing as well. Okay, so I'll start walking here. So the walk animation that you can see here is one of my least favorite animations I've got at the moment, so this is really crappy. But I'll be replacing this further down the track. It serves its purpose for the moment, even though it's not real good. It's fine, it does its job. And there's also a horrible transition between what he looks like when he's walking and when he stops. It's really janky. But this is a level that's about 1/3 of the way into the game. Probably more like 1/4 of the way into the game. And this is a town that you come across that's under enemy control, basically. And you'll see some parallaxing here, because I love parallaxing. It's so cool. So there's a big fallen tree here. And we're going to come up to combat. So here we go. So combat in this game, I'm just going to stop before we get there. Combat in this game always takes place on a fixed screen. So you scroll while you're walking around, and you get to see the parallaxing and everything. But whenever you go into combat, the screen pans across, reveals your enemy, your guy draws his sword, and then you start fighting. So there's kind of invisible walls. They're not in place yet, but they're going to be on either side of each combat zone. Now, this is a deliberate decision because I want to emulate some of that, the like real life combat with like swords and shields and things like that. In that, a lot of it has to do with spacing from your opponent, and it's kind of very forwards and backwards sort of fight that you have with that sort of thing. So basically, getting trapped in a corner where the invisible wall is pretty much going to just result with you dying. I'm even thinking of, if you try to move backwards or you get pushed backwards when you're near the edge of the screen, that your character actually falls over, and then it's really easy to finish off. So it's pretty much like a lose condition if you get to the end. Same for the enemies as well. I want to have it that when you get them to the end, if they can't physically move anymore because they're at the edge of the screen, they will fall over, or otherwise trip over or something like that while they're backing up, and then it's, you know, a single attack to dispatch them at that point. So there we go. So he's going to draw his weapon, pans across, reveals the enemy, and he comes out of the shadows, which looks awesome. Now the enemy's got some basic AI at this point. He doesn't have any real health, so this fight just goes back and forwards forever until one of you gets pushed off the screen. So you can sort of see how some of the combat works, that you've got a high and a low sort of stance, and you can block high and low. There is a stamina system in the game, so it's stamina basically influences how fast you can do different moves. So the lower your stamina gets, the lower the frame rate of your actual character's animations get, until swinging the sword takes a considerably longer amount of time than it does when you're fresh. So you can see there, quite fresh here, I think I've got about full stamina. It's not represented on screen yet. That attacks pretty quick. Now if I chain a bunch of attacks together, and trying to get hit, you can see that really slow down, so I'm quite a low on stamina there, so it takes a long time to swing it. Now this AI that the enemy's got here is really quite basic. You can see he's not doing a very good job of hitting me, really. But it's not far off what I want him to be, because he's quite an easy enemy. You can also see there that I can start an attack low and chain a second one in high if I so desire. So you can switch stances between high and low mid-attack, so I'm going high to low there to try to get around his guard. I'm going to go low to high. Whoop, stuffed it up, here we go. I'm going to go low to high. Now, I don't have any strong attacks in this game yet, because, at this stage anyway, because strong attacks are going to be used to get through armor. So your basic slashing attacks that you've got with your longsword at least, are going to do very little against someone wearing a big suit of armor, and you'll have to do strong attacks to get through them. Now the strong attacks will be a lot of half swording and other sort of things like that, where you grab the sword from the wrong end and swing the popple into their face, and that should be pretty cool. So they'll be really slow attacks that deal with armor. Next month's going to be pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to getting more content into the actual game and really expanding upon that. So the next couple of months are going to be great, because even though they're going to be real busy, really tight, some of these animations are going to be a pain in the ass to do. But putting that aside, getting just more things into the game and expanding levels and having different enemies to fight and being able to kill them and being able to lose and manage your health, that's going to be awesome. And that's where the game really starts to develop really quickly. It's looking good so far. I'm really happy and really proud of how it's going. So hopefully this continues. As you can tell, I'm pretty excited. So I'm really looking forward to it. This is going to be great. I also need to come up with a name for this game. Longsword is just the working title. I need to really come up with a name. Hopefully I'll have that next month as well. That's a big one, actually. So, right. It's gonna be good.
Kind of on autopilot at this point. That's the surround.